Welcome to the Preparing for Your Application Cycle Intent to Apply application workshop. In today's workshop, we're going to go over the application timeline, as well as information about our Intent to Apply program and why you might choose to go through it, and finally cover some details about our linkage program. So looking first at the application timeline, beginning with portal opening dates. We're currently recording this in November 2025, so the 2025-2026 application cycle is still open. Dates for 2026 and 2027 have not yet been posted. However, these dates from the 2025-26 cycle are going to be fairly similar, so we'll use them as a reference point. So if you are applying for MD programs, you'll apply through ANCAS, which opens at the beginning of May and submits at the end of May. For DO programs, you'll apply through ACOMAS, which begins at the beginning of May. For dental programs, you'll use the ADSAS portal, which opens mid-May and submits early June. For pharmacy, you will apply through the PharmCast portal, which tends to open in the middle of July. Optometry is OptomCast, which opens towards the end of June. Podiatry is AACPMIS, which opens at the beginning of August. Physical therapy is PTCAS, middle of June. Physician assistant is CASPA. This is end of April typically, and occupational therapy is OTCAS, typically in the middle of July. So for students who are interested in applying through the Intent to Apply, in order to have a committee letter ready for your spring and summer submission application cycles, we would need to start the fall before. So a quick look at what an application timeline looks like for students in their current 2025-2026 application cycle. In fall 2024 is when the Intent to Apply application opened for them. They were studying and scheduling their MCAT, GRE, whatever those tests are that you're taking. They're doing outreach to potential letter writers. Then come the spring, they're submitting the Intent to Apply application. They're taking their tests, GRE, MCAT, etc., at least 1 month out from the application opening. They are writing and finalizing their personal statements, formally requesting letters of recommendation, making any final prerequisites if necessary, ordering transcripts, and then this is when that PA application opens. In the summer, this is when the rest of the applications are opening. You're going to continue prerequisite coursework. You're going to start getting your supplementary applications, and you might start working on some mock interviews, because come the fall, this is when most of the interviews are going to happen. Some supplemental applications will be finishing out. You might get some early admissions towards the ends of November, kind of early December, but for the most part, this is where interviews are. This is also where we recommend finishing your prerequisite coursework if you have any outstanding. Come spring, if you have not graduated already, this is when you'd graduate. This is when you might finish up some last interviews, but this is when the bulk of admissions are going to come in. So you'll accept that admission. Your orientation will take place in the summer, and then you would matriculate or begin your program in the fall. So you can see, right, for students who are wanting to start or hoping to start in fall 2026, their process towards this application began 2 years before. So why might you engage in our Intent to Apply process? There's a few reasons. The first, it's going to give you a sense of your application strength, right? It's going to provide an honest review of your current application strength, as well as provide a vote of confidence from your undergraduate academic institution. It's also going to provide a streamlined letter upload. So through this process, you'll receive a letter of recommendation from our Health Professions Committee, and we will put that into a PDF packet, including all letters of recommendation you submit to us. So instead of sending out links to each individual recommender, you would just send that one to us when you're ready, and we'll upload the packet to count as all of your letters. And last but certainly not least, in fact, I actually think this is the most useful reason for this process, is that it serves as a mock application. So it gets you thinking early about the application components, and also allows you to kind of assess how ready you are for the challenge of the application process, right? So instead of having to do all of this, right, in the middle of your spring semester, or, in the summer when maybe you're completing, really fast-paced summer coursework, you're getting thinking about that personal statement, about your, activities sections, all that stuff ahead of time. So if you are interested in applying, there are a handful of requirements. The first is you do need to have a minimum of a 3.0 cumulative and science and math GPA. You do not have to have taken your test at the time of your application, but you do need to have a date scheduled so we know you'll take it. For all pathways except for PA, you do have to have 100 clinical hours at the time of application. And for PA, because of clinical hour requirements, you do need to have a minimum of 1,000 patient care experience hours. For letters of recommendation, you need two minimum, one academic and one professional, but we will allow you to include up to 8. You will need transcripts from every academic institution you've attended. So if you came here, but maybe before this you were at Fullerton College, and maybe before that you were at Golden West, we would need transcripts from each of those colleges. But we don't make you order the official ones. The unofficial is okay. We just need to see a unique transcript for each institution. And last but not least, there is a $20 per program fee. Now, this doesn't mean, if you apply to 10 medical schools, you need to pay us $200, right? That would just be $20. But if you apply to 10 medical schools and one DO program, that would be $40, because we are going to write a separate letter for DO, as it is a different program that kind of prioritizes slightly different things. So what does a timeline look like? The process for this intent to apply. For the 2026-2027 application cycle, the application opened on October 31st. You can find it on the HPAO website. All application materials need to be sent to ITOA@fullerton.edu by 11:59 p.m. on Monday, February 16th, 2026. Your applicant email subject should say ITOA application and then your name. If you are a first-time applicant, you will need to include your intent to apply application, your transcripts, our certification. This can be a timesheet, it could be a letter from a supervisor. You can have a supervisor email us directly. We just need some kind of, certification that you have completed the hours you say you completed. And you need to submit the fee payment online through the HPAO website fee payment tab. If you are a reapplicant, that means that you have previously applied and we have submitted your letter. So you're reapplying. You need to fill out the reapplicant application, which is also on the website. And you would need to provide confirmation of any new hours or any new transcripts that you have taken. And you would also need to submit a new fee payment. If you are a student who, let's say, applied, for your first time, but decided before we submitted your packet to, hold back or to pull your application or to postpone it, you don't need to submit the reapplicant document or resubmit a fee payment. It's only if we have drafted and sent out a letter on your behalf in a previous cycle. And last but not least, for any recommenders, they should email the intent to apply, ITOA@fullerton.edu, and their subject line should be LOR for your name. It should be a PDF, it should be written on official letterhead, and it needs to be signed. And then committee letter upload requests. So once you've been notified that your committee letter is ready, you would also send all these requests to ITOA@fullerton.edu. To give you a breakdown on, what to expect in terms of the timeline, as I mentioned, the application submission period is October 31st through February 16th. February 16th through roughly March 1st, our office is reviewing these applications, and we are, assessing whether they, maybe you have a missing recommender, or, a piece of the application didn't come through, right? So we're going to follow up with you if there's anything wonky or anything we have questions about. Then March 1st through April 17th, our faculty committee is reviewing those applications and using our holistic rubric to evaluate them. April 17th through May 2022, we are drafting those committee letters. As soon as your committee letter is drafted and ready to be submitted, we will email you to let you know. And then, as soon as that happens, right, May 2022, or whenever your letter is drafted, then we would be submitting those letters on your behalf. So I mentioned that, we also do our linkage programs through our intent to apply. So if you're interested in or planning to apply through one of our linkage programs, you would also need to submit an intent to apply as well as the supplemental program application for each program. So the general process for all of our Western U programs is that our faculty committee reviews and drafts a committee letter for you. We send that as well as your supplemental application over to the admissions committee at Western U, and then the Western U liaison communicates directly with you about any additional requirements. For MBKU, our committee reviews your materials. We select students and notify you at the beginning of April. Once your CASPA application is submitted, you would need to send your applicant ID to us, and we send that to our MBKU liaison. From there, MBKU will communicate directly with you related to the interview. And last but not least, for our LECOM programs, you do need to submit an intent to apply application. You also need to submit a LECOM My EAP application on their website. The committee letter is then sent to their admissions committee in June, and the LECOM liaison communicates directly with you related to any interviews or other requirements for the program. That rounds out the essential information for the intent to apply process. If you have questions about getting started on your pre-health track, academic requirements, clinical hours, application timeline, I encourage you to look at the workshops we have posted on our website under the advising page. But otherwise, I wish you the best on your application journey.